So with Monsters of the Multiverse recently coming out, we had an update to a bunch of character races as well as a bunch of monster stat blocks. I wanted to take a look at the new character races and kind of do a little bit of a deep dive into each one. So we're going to start from the top with Aarakocra. The Aarakocra are a humanoid. They are size medium. They have a movement speed of 30 feet. They have flight, as long as they're not wearing medium or heavy armor. They have talons, which are going to do a d6 plus strength modifier slashing damage instead of their normal unarmed attacks. They have wind collar, which starting at 3rd level you can cast the Gust of Wind spell with this trait without requiring a material component. Once you cast the spell with this trait, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have of 2nd level or higher. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting ability for it when you cast Gust of Wind with this trait. Choose when you select the race. So looking at the strengths of Aarakocra is flight is amazing. Flight is so good for most characters, if not all. And I really actually like that they put the limitation on flight to, to restrict heavy or medium armor. Now we have to make a sacrifice for a lot of classes to be able to get that flight. So that's one of the weaknesses, is that our armor is limited, but we also don't have dark vision. And so that's another one of our weaknesses. So the big question that pops up with Aarakocra is it worth giving up our heavy/medium armor for flight? And I think it's a nuanced question with some nuanced answers, and I think it really comes down to what kind of class we're building or what kind of character we're building. And a lot of that decision comes down to range. If we are able to maintain long range, we can probably give up some of our good armor. So I'm thinking like fighter. So a fighter archer would often be using medium armor, but with the Aarakocra, it might be worth it to take the light armor to be a flying archer. If you're wanting to go into melee or be like a melee tank, Aarakocra is often not going to be the choice. Like Paladin really comes to mind here. Paladins really want to get up close and melee attack using smites, and if we're being an Aarakocra, doing that, we're going to be getting opportunity attacks, or we're going to lose the advantage of flying by not moving away from them. And so a paladin is probably the most anti-synergistic with what an Aarakocra is trying to do. Paladin and an Aarakocra are trying to do two different things. So let's take a look at kind of a list. So I've kind of broken it down into 3 separate categories. There's the hell yeah, take Aarakocra for these classes, which includes Bard, Monk, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard. All of them either take light armor or no armor. All of them appreciate range and mobility. So yeah, those are the hell yes. The works with effort, meaning not every build for these classes is going to work, but certain builds will work, and this could definitely get into that hell yeah rank. There can be awesome builds in this category. We have Barbarian, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, and Ranger. And for the final category, we have the hell no, and that's Paladin. I just don't think Paladins work unless you're doing a really janky build, which could be fun, but it's going to be janky. Now that's the flight discussion. Let's talk about Gust of Wind. Gust of Wind is a situational spell, but the situations come up often enough that I think it's pretty cool that we get it. Some situations that have come up in just my campaign alone is pushing people back in a hallway, pushing a ship's sails, clearing out poison, or there was a dust cloud at one point that they needed to clear out. So those are just a few ways you can use it, and it's really great. It gets more power from range. If you have ranged attacks and you're keeping people down a hallway, you can keep hitting them where they can't hit you. But if you are a melee attacker, the Gust of Wind isn't going to do as much for you. So Aarakocras really specialize in ranged builds. That being said, you can totally make more, like I built a Barbarian Aarakocra, and I love it, it's great. But it does specialize, especially now with the Gust of Wind, it does specialize in these long-ranged attacks. So, archers or casters, etc. That said, they do have enough flexibility to make almost any class work unless it's kind of that tanky archetype. The tanky archetype doesn't super work for Aarakocra. All right, that has been my Aarakocra kind of deep dive. Let me know what you guys thought. Are you guys excited to see other race deep dives? Or should I do different videos? Let me know in the comments down below. We are D&D Daily. We release new D&D content every single day, so if that's interesting to you, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.